Most portrait photographers, they're not bad at lighting, they're just scared of shadows. They light everything evenly, they smooth everything out, and they just remove contrast like it's a mistake. And that's exactly why their work looks safe. Not strong, safe. Now, back when I first started shooting, I used to light everything evenly. I was lighting for the face, it was bright, clean, and even. And that's because that's what we're told is flattering. But the problem here is when you remove shadow, you remove shape. When you remove shape, you remove tension. When you remove tension, you remove the presence. A face lit evenly, it might look nice and to beauty standards, but it rarely looks powerful. Shadows are what gives the face and bone structure dimension. It gives the jaw some weight, it gives the cheeks some depth, and it makes the body feel sculpted instead of just flat. Without shadow, everything just becomes decorative. Now, most photographers avoid shadows, and that's because they're scared of a few simple things. They're scared of losing that detail. They don't think the client will look perfect. They don't trust their exposure, and they don't know how to control that fall off. So they just overfill. They add another light, then another reflector, and then another softbox. Before you know it, the image, it has no dimension. It just becomes this bright mess. Now, not to call it mess because they don't look like bad photos. They just don't have that emotion, that shape and mystery that we all like. Shadow, it isn't the enemy, but uncontrolled shadow can be. Now, when you lean into shadows deliberately, you can create some hierarchy. You can control where the eye naturally goes to. You define the structure and you define the mood. Now, light, its job is to show, whereas shadow, its job is to define. If I'm shooting something editorial or dramatic, I'm not just trying to eliminate the shadows. I want to try and shape them. And I do this by doing some simple things like feathering the light, pulling it off its axis, and letting that far side just fall away into shadow. The moment you stop trying to make everything visible, your portraits just end up with more authority. Now, what I mean by this is if we look at these examples, we've got the first one where everything's evenly lit, it's nice and bright. It's a nice and safe image. Then we look at my own portraits and you can see here we have a lot of shadow, a lot of fall off. I wanted a more dramatic shot with this one. Now notice how the second image feels more intentional. That's the weight of the image, that's the direction that I'm talking about. Whereas the first images, they look more like beauty magazine shots, which is what they were intentionally. They were for a hairstylist. Nothing's changed about the lights that we used. It's just the way that we've used the lights. Everything was intentional, and we control the shadows here. Now, if you take a look at these shots, these are also front flash. You would imagine everything would be bright. Now, what I've done is I've created enough separation between the subject and the backdrop. So this has given me that dark drop off, which acts like a natural vignette. Again, controlling that shadow. So if you're constantly trying to make people look flawless, you just end up making them look flat. Strong portraits aren't about creating flawless images or removing every imperfection. They're about amplifying structure. And shadow is structure. So start asking yourself, what do I actually want this photo to feel like? Soft, bold, intimate, severe. Then shape the light accordingly to the mood that you want to portray. Stop defaulting to even. So if your work feels nice, but never actually powerful, don't just add more lights. Actually take them away. Commit to one direction and let that shadow just exist. And control it rather than fear it. That's when portraits stop feeling polite and start looking deliberate. So if you enjoyed this video, drop me a like, give me a follow, and hit that notification bell for every time that I post a new video. I'll see you guys in the next one.